Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and on today's video we're going to look at how to lace the rear wheel on the GL1000 Goldwing. I've cleaned the rim up, I've given it a good polish. I haven't gone too far with it because I don't want this to look like a chrome rim. I want it to look like what it is, which is a previously anodized wheel, and it's meant to have a satin finish on it. I've perhaps gone a bit too far on the rim itself. It is a bit glossy compared to, a bit shiny compared to what I'd really like, but yeah, it's not too bad. I have managed to preserve the DID sticker. It is an original DID rim. So right, let's get on with it and have a go at lacing this wheel. So I've ordered sets of spokes for both the front wheel and the rear wheel, and I've also ordered some a rim tape for the front wheel. The back one is fine, but the front one needed replacing. So that's what that is. Put that back in there so we don't lose it. And then what we've got here, so we've got a rear spoke set, and we've got a front spoke set as well. I was going to go stainless steel, but to be honest, the price ended up being quite prohibitive. So yeah, I've just gone with the normal ones. Let's get these open and see what we've got. Okay, so there's our 40 shiny spokes, and I'm fully expecting these to be, hopefully, to be different. Yeah, so we can see there that you've got inner and outer spokes, and they're obviously different, so we've got to work out which is which. And hopefully the packet doesn't actually tell me which is which, but we'll see if we can work it out. Right, so just before we go any further, this is an old wheel one which I'm not going to be using, but just to show you what I mean by inner and outer spokes. So this spoke here is an outer spoke, and what I mean by that is that it's on the outside of the hub, and then these ones here are the inner spokes. So it's important to put the inner ones in first. So we're going to do all of those first on both sides and get the orientation of these correct, and then we're going to start on the outer ones afterwards. So we've got two distinct types of spoke, like I've just shown you, inner and outer, and we need to know which is which. So if we come back over to our hub, we'll try both spokes as inner and outers, and then see if we can work out which is which. So hopefully you can see that this hub has some marks on it, witness marks if you like, and looking at our other wheel, what we know is that the inner spokes go this way and the outer spokes go that way, and that makes sense because when we look at these marks, this is where the spokes have been resting, the outer spokes have been resting on the hub. So we've now got to work out which one of these two types is which. So if we take this one for a start, and we'll try that in an outer position, and that seems to rest there quite nicely. So there's a good chance I would say that that is an outer spoke. This shaped one, if we put that into the next, so inner and outers are always, there's always one hole, miss a hole, and then the next inner would be there, sorry, next outer would be there, etc. So here we'd miss a hole, next outer would be there. So if we try the different type of spoke in here, so clearly that is not going to work because we can't bend that down anywhere near enough to get to where the holes in the rib would be. So what that tells me is that this is an inner spoke and these are the outer spokes. So what we'll do now is if we put this inner spoke through like this, and then we can see that that's much more like the sort of thing we're looking at. So next job is to separate all these out, and I'm going to lubricate the nipples on these so that it makes it easier to get them off in the future if we ever need to. Okay, so I've separated these out into outers, the inners, and obviously the nipples. And I've checked, I've got 20 of those, 20 of those, 40 of those, which is the correct amount for this this wheel. So what I'm going to do now is just lubricate those just with some bit of WD-40. So just going to spray that in there, get that onto the threads. So I'll just shake those around for a bit. Dry those off and then we'll get started. So at this point in time we're only interested in putting the inners in. We're going to put the inners in on both sides and then connect them up to the rim. So on this particular hub you can see the witness marks. Hopefully you can pick those up on the camera. So they were clearly the outer spokes. We're going to start with the inner ones, as I said, so that opposite there, opposite that one, and it's going to go that way. So I'm literally going to go round and I'm going to miss out a hole each time, and I'm going to go around and do this on this side of the rim. It doesn't really matter which way they fall at the moment. We can sort that out in a minute. Miss a hole out each time. Okay, so there are 20 of these, so you should have 10 of them in this side and the 10 will go in the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, right, now we need our rim. Okay, so what I've done now is I've just laid the rim over the hub, and I've taken my first spoke and I've put it through that hole there. Now if you can see there's another hole which is pretty much in the same orientation as that one. What I mean by that is that hole there is clearly facing that way, these two holes are facing that way. That spoke in there seems to fit quite well. If I was to take that out and try it in that one, again it goes in all right, but I can tell that if I was to put a nipple on the back of that, the spoke is not in the right orientation. It just doesn't feel right. And the thing with this, the secret to this is, if it doesn't look right, it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. When you get this right, it makes sense, and it just seems to they'll all sort of fall into place, if that makes any sense. So I can tell with that one that if I now put a nipple on the back of that, when I pull that in, if I pulled that nipple right in, screw that nipple right up, it would sit correctly on the back of this rim. I'll see if I can show you that with the camera. So you can see from there, I've just very loosely put that nipple on there, but imagine, I'll pull the rim this way, but imagine that I was actually tightening that up. That then pulls that in and sits properly in there. If I was to try that with that one, that wouldn't be sitting correctly. So I know I've got that correct. So the plan now is to go around with each of these spokes and just put the nipples on each of them, but only a few turns. Okay, you just want to catch the first few threads. You don't want to be doing them up tight at this point. So that's my first one in. You can see there's a load of threads showing there. I'm not even going to attempt to tighten up any more than that at the moment. So then what we're looking for is the next hole around that is in the same orientation as that one, which is going to be that one there. And obviously it doesn't reach because our rim isn't centered against the hub, but we'll just bring that up there like that. And then we'll put the next nipple on there, and again just a few threads. That's all we need, that's all we want to do. Okay, and then we work our way around the rim, and to be honest, once you've done one or two, you suddenly see a pattern emerging, and it sort of makes sense at that point. So let's go for the next one, which will be that one there. Okay, so you see what's starting to happen. And let's go for our next one. So that one is going to be there. So actually in this case we're missing 1, 2, 3 holes and doing the 4. So 1, 2, 3 and doing the 4th there. 1, 2, 3 and the 4th one there. Nipple through. A few turns. Next one. 1, 2, 3. We're going for that one. Pull through. A few turns on that one. And so on. 1, 2, 3, that one. I'll find the hole. There it is. One, 2, 3, 4th one there. You might have to keep jiggling the jiggling things about, moving the rim relative to the hub, just to get them all in. But you can see the way things are going. And the next one, so let's go with this one here. 1, 2, 3, be that one there. Oops. It's really nothing to be scared of, this. I know people don't like doing it, and you know, pay good money for somebody else to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, that one. But there really isn't any reason you can't give it a go yourself. You know, it might be that you do all the hard work, but then if you don't want to tension them, or you don't want to, or you're worried about tensioning them, or perhaps taking the wheel out of true, you know, you can always take it somewhere after you've done this. And hopefully it'd save you a fair bit of money in labour costs. 1, 2, 3, 4. That one there. Okay. So that is now the inner spokes on that side done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to flip the whole thing over, and we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So the inner ones on the other side go the opposite direction to these ones. I know it doesn't like it at the moment necessarily, because obviously I can do that and I can twist the wheel around any way I want. But basically, the ones on the other side should be like that, and these ones are going to be like that. It makes it difficult to get them through unless you actually sort of straighten them up a little bit like that. So I'm going to do that for a start. I'm going to go through with every single one of these, and then we'll have all of our inner ones in place. Oops. And then we'll start putting the nipples on those. So again, we're just missing one hole each time as we go around. Okay, that's all the inner spokes done on both sides, and now we're going to start on the outer spokes. and the outer spokes go the opposite way to the inner spokes on each side. So we're going to have to come up from underneath in this instance. I'm going to come up, I'm going to cross over that spoke, which will cross over the next one as well. And now, because of how we've got this laced up, there's really only one place that can go, and that's that hole there. So we're going to go round, and we're going to start putting all these ones in as well. So next one, up through the hole, over, across that one, into that hole there. And we're just going to repeat that process all the way around on this side, then we're going to flip it over, and we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So turn it round, up through the hole, across that way, through the hole, and repeat. So once we've got all of the spokes in, obviously they're all loose. Next job to do is to tighten them up. So what you need to do now is to try and tighten them all up evenly. So what I like to do is tighten the nipples up until the thread has just disappeared on every single one. So that's what we're going to do next. So that's all our spokes in, and if you're so inclined, you could leave it like that and take it now somewhere to be trued up and get the offset, etc., sorted out. Before I took this one apart, if you remember in the video where we were looking at the wheels, I measured the offset, and to the bottom of the this rim was 45 millimeters, and this is on about 43 as it sits there. So basically this whole rim just needs to be lifted up a couple of mil. So the way to do that is we're going to start tightening the spokes on this side evenly, just to pull that whole rim up slightly, and then when we're happy that it's the right height, then we'll go and do the other side, and then it's just a question of applying tension to all of the spokes evenly, and I'll show you how we test that to make sure they're all even when I've gone around and tightened all these. So I've positioned the wheel so that the valve hole is here. That's where I'm going to start from, and I'm going to use the outer spokes, and I'm just going to start tightening these up until I can feel some tension on them, and I can see the rim now of the wheel lifting up. Okay, I don't know if you can see that on the video, but it is actually lifting up. So I'm going to start there, and I'm going to go round. Well, what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to measure that and see where I'm at until I get to 45, and then once I've got to 45 on that one spoke, I'm going to go round and do the same with all the others, and then hopefully we'll end up with the offset correct, and then I can start tightening up the other spokes. If I measure that offset now, it's looking to me like I've got about 45 all the way around there. So I think we're about where we need to be with that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go around and turn it over, tighten the other spokes so they're just finger tight as well, and then we can start looking at putting some tension, a bit more tension on them. So I've got the old wheel and a new wheel next to each other here, and so all of these are now under just a very small amount of tension, hardly anything at all. And if we go around this old wheel and we hit each of these spokes, you can hear them making a a definite tone or noise, which if we then come over here and do the same on these, we've got nothing like that at all. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get all of these to sound similar to these. In fact, ideally, they should all sound the same, and in this case, clearly they don't, so these aren't the same tension anyway. You're never going to get it spot on, but the idea is to just do these up so they're under proper decent tension, and try and get it so that they're all sounding roughly the same, so you know none of them are loose, and then we need to check the wheel to make sure it's true. Hopefully this video is not going to be too disjointed. It's now a couple of days since I put the spokes back in. I'll just keep getting distracted with other things, unfortunately. But what I've done now is I've set up the, this is like an extra arm they call it or something. It's a soldering station, but what I've done is I've just set it up so that when I spin the wheel, you can hear what's going on there. The rim is slightly distorted and catching on that crocodile clip in certain places. There you go. So the plan now is to first of all, I'm going to go around and the spokes are under a slight amount of tension, but hardly anything at all. So I'm going to go around every single spoke. I'm going to give each of the nipples a quarter of a turn, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to have a look to see whether this is still catching. To be fair, for a wheel that's like 40 plus years old, it's pretty good, to be honest. It's an old rim, we're never going to get it spot on. It's usable as it is, but I think we can get it a bit better than that. So first job is literally every single one of these spokes I'm going to give a quarter of a turn. In fact, I'm actually going to get my spoke spanner and do it with the spoke spanner. Okay. So literally every single one of these. In fact, what I'm going to do is if I find where the valve hole is, and I'll start there, and then when I get back around there, I know I've got to the right. I know I've done them all up. As I spin the wheel now, I've moved the crocodile clip onto the top, and you can see it still needs pulling in a bit. So we'll find the middle of where it's catching there, which is about there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to loosen the top spokes, and we're going to tighten the bottom spokes to see if we can get rid of that. So into that is about there. So these top spokes, we're just going to loosen these off. Let's just go with say 3 of them for a start, and then the corresponding spokes underneath, we're going to pull those in. And then by pulling these bottom ones in, tightening these bottom ones up, and we loosen these top ones, it'll automatically tighten those top ones for us. So let's see what we've got now. Okay, that's pretty good now. So we're not catching at all on there. It's possibly, let's have a look. Yeah, it's slightly still out there. So I'm going to do the same thing again. Just going to quarter a turn. You just want to do about a quarter of a turn at a time. Don't overdo it. Wrong way. and then keep testing. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. For a 40-year-old wheel, that's not bad. Okay, so I mean, I could go on like this for hours, trying to get it better, but I think for the purposes of the video, you get the idea. And then the other thing to do is to move your whatever you're using to test the trueness of the wheel. So now I've set it so that what I'm looking for this time is run out in this plane. So before we were looking at the up and down movement, but now we're looking at this plane. So if I just touch that near enough on there, yeah, I mean there's hardly any run out on that. There's one right there on that bit there. So I'm wondering whether there's a slight kink in the rim just there, but again, it's for a 40-year-old wheel, it's nothing to worry about. I'm more than happy with that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check my offset again, so the hub in relation to the rim, make sure I've not taken that too far out of whack, and then I'm going to go round and I'm going to just tap each of the spokes to see if I get roughly the same tone out of each of them. So I'm going to go around now, I'm going to tap each spoke in turn, and what I'm looking for is the same sort of tone from each of them. And slightly low. Right, so that one is definitely too loose. If I do that one, that one is definitely too loose. So the tighter you go with a spoke, the higher the note. Let's just go around and test them again. Okay, I reckon that's pretty good for that set. So I'm going to go around and finish that up. And yeah, I think that's about it for this video. That's how you relace a motorcycle. Hope you found that useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and I will see you in the next video.